On our Black History Month, we are featuring events, businesses, and community leaders from right here in the Triad that help celebrate Black culture. And first up is a traveling exhibit sharing the history of Black architects. It's made its way to Winston-Salem, and the title is We Built This.
So joining us now is Heather Bratland. She is the Historic Resources Officer for the Forsyth County Historic Resources Commission to tell us more. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning.
So first, let's just talk about the exhibit. It also includes a local builder, George Black. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So the exhibit is a traveling exhibit that actually covers the history of Black builders and architects across the state of North Carolina from the colonial period into the 21st century. But George Black, who is a internationally known master brick maker that worked here in Winston-Salem, is actually featured in the exhibit. He walked here from Randolph County as a young boy, learned how to make bricks, and started his own brickyard in his backyard. He worked with members of his family and members of the community for decades to make bricks by hand in a very old-fashioned way. But those bricks became very important here in Winston-Salem because they were used in the restoration of Old Salem. Instead of using modern machine-made bricks that are very regular, these bricks, they have fingerprints and handprints. They show the effort of a craftsman doing it, and it was important to use bricks like that in the restoration of Old Salem because that's how the bricks would have been made back in the 17 and 1800s when the original buildings there were being built. And his bricks were used also at Colonial Williamsburg and the restoration there, and he even traveled to Guyana to teach people how to make bricks there. His bricks really became a status symbol for people in this community, and they still are found in houses in Buena Vista, old Wachovia Bank branches, and all over the county.
That's so cool.
So cool. Wow. That is amazing to have that rich history here. Tell us about the other local architect that your organization is working to feature in this exhibit as well.
Sure. So we did want to do research and add some additional content on other builders and makers who were from Winston-Salem. So we profiled George Reynolds, who lived down in the Bellevue part of Winston-Salem, sort of south of town, near Waughtown. And he also actually was a very early brick maker, and he made bricks for Atkins, well, what at the time was Atkins, now Winston-Salem State University, for some of their dormitory buildings. And we were able to work with the archives at Winston-Salem State to get a copy of the contract that he signed to deliver several 100,000 bricks. And so uncovering his story was fantastic. We also have told the stories of B.C. Coppage and Frank Morrell, who were two stonemasons who worked here kind of in the middle part of the 20th century, both before and after urban renewal. So their work you can see in some urban renewal projects along Thurmond Street in the Boston community. And they were both also very important civic leaders. And then we looked at the contractors Smith and Hauser, who were an early contracting firm. Smith, in fact, attended Slater Industrial Academy and then later taught there. And they worked together and built in some buildings on the early campus of Winston-Salem State. So getting to tell their story was also really fascinating.
I love getting to know the people behind these structures that maybe we all see, but we don't imagine the hands that went into it. I'm curious why you want to use this medium as a way to highlight Black history in the area. What about architecture helps tell this story? You've been telling it really well, but I would love to know more about the thought behind the exhibit.
Well, for too often, the story of our community, when it's told in terms of physical spaces, has really told the story of the people who paid for and bought the buildings, who owned the buildings, and less so the stories of the men and women who built those buildings. And so We Built This is an effort to tell the story of the craftspeople, in particular in the Black community, because for far too long, the historic preservation community has been largely a white community, and they've been largely white stories that have been told. And so preservation as a movement and as an academic field is really working to capture the story of the Black community and other minority communities in a way that hasn't been done before. And buildings are a great way to tell the story of history, because when you are back in a physical space where events have happened, people have been, steps have been trod for hundreds of years, there is a visceral connection that happens, and you can sort of imagine yourself back in that time living the way that those people lived, and it just connects you in a very tangible way that reading something on a page or watching something on a screen can't do.
That is very, very true. Heather, we certainly appreciate your time this morning and all of your insight. For folks at home, the We Built This traveling exhibit will be on display every Saturday throughout the month of February in Winston-Salem. You can head to the Fairgrounds Farmers Market each weekend from 6 a.m. until noon. And if you can't make it out there in person, it will be on display at Winston-Salem State University throughout the month of March.